Good morning, traders. It is 9 o'clock Monday morning, August 5th, and it's a nasty red open. So let's see what we're looking at and see what we might be able to do or not do today and even this week. Okay, daily chart of the S&P 500. We had our high here of 30, we call it 30.25, and then we just took off straight to the downside. 3 big red days in a row has made us pretty oversold. I'll put on the moving average in a minute, but we challenged the 50-day moving average on Friday, closed back up above it, which was encouraging. You can see the bottom of this wick. I mean, we're still trading very technically, so we're not seeing panic, okay? But what you can see here, I mean, we held this nice level of support all the way back here, right? Now today, so let me back up. We filled this gap on Friday, okay? I had highlighted this gap before. I honestly didn't think we'd get there this quick, but this morning we are going to open right now around 28.85. That's down about 45 points overnight, and I'll show you the overnight setup in just a second. But we're going to open right around here, which you can see fills this gap almost exactly. So we've got a little bit of support as we sink into this gap, maybe down to about 28.80. With really strong support being about 29.77, 29.75. So those are going to be your levels. I will say this. I do expect probably a push down to this 28.80-ish level, down to this level of support. However, I do see a bounce back to 29.30 pretty darn quick. I'm not saying that happens today or this morning, but I could definitely see that push lower today, this morning. We probably chop around, and then whether it's this afternoon, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's Wednesday, I do expect a move back higher, targeting this 29.30 area. Obviously, the first stop's going to be 2900, then it's going to be 29.15, then it's going to be 29.30. My point is, I do expect higher prices before I expect much lower prices, okay? So let's throw on the moving averages just to get an idea. Oops, I want to put on all of my moving averages. Okay, so we're going to open below the 100-day here. This puts us kind of in no man's land, right? This blue line is the 150. You can see the yellow here is the 200. So the 150 is over the 200. I mean, that's, this is going to be major area of support if we get there. I don't think we get there before we challenge higher, but we may go down after that. That makes sense? So, again, my outlook's always, pretty short term. Let's look at some other studies, and then I'm going to look at the VIX, and then I'm going to look at the overnight session. Here's the Bollinger Bands. Obviously, they're pinching here as we just, climbed right up this 50-day moving average. We've broke well below the daily Bollinger Band on Friday. We're going to be down here, still well below the daily Bollinger Band. Today, if we look at this on a weekly basis, because it gives us a little better perspective, you see we're going to open down below this 50-day moving average, which is the middle line. So, if we don't hold that, we could easily go back to this 29.30, which, if you remember, on the previous chart was right around the 150-day moving average. It's funny how these things line up, isn't it? So, again, just trying to point out levels here. Let's look also at RSI. Let me flip this to a daily. Okay, RSI, we're going to open probably somewhere below 30 on the 14-day RSI. We're going to achieve, very oversold on the 10-day. We already are on the 5 and the 2. Again, expect a rally. I'm not saying today, but it's coming just because we're getting so oversold. All right, let's remove all this stuff. Let's look at the VIX. That always gives us some good perspective as well. VIX, you can see we're basically back at May's highs of VIX. The May high was right here around 20, just over 23. We're at 21 this morning. And you can see we hit this same level back in January. So, this is where vol starts getting, a little too bid, okay? So keep that in mind. Flip this back to, all right, let's look at the futures overnight. Futures overnight. All right, let's look at the bottom chart first. This is just a 5-day chart with VWAP, okay? You can see we've basically just walked down this VWAP in the middle of it all day, or, all night, I should say. We're kind of in the middle. I mean, this really doesn't tell us a whole lot. Like, there's no trade to be had right here, okay? Top chart is just the same time frame, 5-day, 5-minute, and it has my 5, 10, and 20-day moving averages on it with an RSI below. Okay, you see RSI not too oversold here. I mean, we're at the bottom of or the bottom of the lows of the overnight session. We're not oversold. You know, again, really not a big trade to be had here. You can see this orange line is the 5-day, and it just continues to walk it lower. We are very oversold, and I think we will see a pop at some point this morning. I don't expect, you know, a huge one, but point is we're oversold. We're walking lower. You can see as far as levels on the 5-day. Let me pull this out a little because it's, excuse me, I said 5-day, 5-minute. You can see, I mean, we're setting new lows, so we don't really have a low yet to target. But on the highs, you've got 28.95, so that's up 10 points. Right at here at 2,900, up to about 2,904. Then we jump to 29.15, and there's our 29.30. So you can see as we have stair steps above, but below, I mean, we're kind of in no man's land here, and there's just not a lot of high probability trades. Look for a close back above the 5 period, and what I'd love to see is this orange curl back up above the blue, which is the 10. That would give us a signal to get aggressively long with a very tight stop because they may not hold. This is a nasty trading environment. Sometimes, guys, the best thing to do is just stay out of the damn way. And today may be one of those trades. One thing I will say is I do like selling put premium here. You know, I haven't looked at the premiums that are available as far as, you know, strikes, but I mean, I'd love to be down in, you know, somewhere around this 28.50, something like that. That looks like a really good strike for today, even Wednesday. All right. See you guys at the open.